Welcome to the Emerald Green Jewel of North American Motorsports, Virginia International Raceway. It is time for the 5th round of the Pirelli GT4 America Sprint Championship here at Virginia International Raceway, presented by Henry Repeating Arms. And this place is absolutely beautiful, and it tends to produce some very exciting racing. And one thing we have seen so far this year, Cal, is the sprint category of the Pirelli GT4, the traditional format, if you will, one driver, 50 minutes, and they have put on a show, and we had some big surprises in yesterday's race.
We really did. Our two championship leaders both got into trouble here. This is an old school racetrack, and there's not a lot of runoff room, and if you do run over the curbs here, we saw some problems with cutting down the inner sidewall on the tires. You see from the pole, Spencer Pumpelly had a great start to the race. Shane Lewis, big move down to the inside, but that bright orange Mercedes AMG had a lot of pace today.
Yeah, and just a great job, but Ian James, who didn't have the best qualifying, opportunistic move at the start as well, but Fasnacht didn't wait too long to reclaim that second spot.
It did not, and Murillo Racing really put a great setup underneath him. He had a lot of confidence. He was just carving these turns here.
And then for Ian James, that was the first surprise, cut left rear tire from the curb. Michael Cooper, the Black Dog McLaren, able to sweep by, and the rest of the field as well. And then an even bigger surprise from the lead.
Yeah, just through this section right here, through the snake, if the drivers were dropping wheels. And then we see Elgani have a big moment in that crossbow, narrowly avoided there by Drew Stavely.
Yeah, and he was maybe distracted a little bit by James trying to get to the pits. But in the end, it was Matt Fasnacht, the AM, from Murillo Racing, taking the overall win in a fairly dominant display. And he also had fast lap in that race, Cal. And in the sprint format, fastest race lap determines starting lineup, he's on pole.
It's an all-lamb front row, in fact, with Jarrett Andretti. A great performance by that group, putting that car on the outside flank of our pole sitter. Then the favorites for the championship, Spencer Pumpelly and Ian James, had tough days, finishing in 19th and 20th positions, but they still hold down first and second in the championship, Greg, albeit that margin is very tight now with Gar Robinson having a big move in the points yesterday.
Yeah, after their non-point score, Gar has now closed it up. He's only 5 out of the lead, only 3 behind James. Here's Elganian and Marco Radicic, both having solid runs with some good speed yesterday. Robinson, although he was racy and aggressive, just didn't really get the best lap out of it. He finished 3rd in the race. Same story with Michael Cooper, who had a great run, but just weren't able to get the best lap time, so they're starting a little bit farther back in the order. Then Shane Lewis, Gar Robinson's teammate, in the Camaro, and the Mustang of Drew Stavely.
Yeah, the Mustangs looked really good there yesterday. Stavely finished in 6th position. Brynjolfsson in that bright yellow Volt lighting car. He had a strong car yesterday. Just faded a little bit towards the end. Jeff Burton, so impressive this year.
Absolutely. Taking a look at the rest of the field, Sean Quinlan running for the Steve Cameron Racing team, and Jason Bell with Global Motorsports Group, his second start in the Porsche 718 Cayman. Then Chris Omacht, who we just watched his Sprint X teammate, Toby Grahovic, run a race earlier this morning. Tom Collingwood for BCB Racing. And then Tony Gables and Mark Clennon, the twin McLarens, starting in that next row. Dmitry Novikov, his first start with this championship. He runs a lot of Pirelli Trophy West Racing. Very strong driver. And then Henry Schmidt, a little problem in yesterday's race in the number 88. That is also from Steve Cameron Racing in the BMW of San Francisco entry. Cal, let's take a look at this 3 1/4 mile, 17 turn, amazing racing facility.
So challenging. You come across the stripe there at high speed down into turn 1, then there's an opportunity to make a move down to the inside, but you have to get it right. Then it gets super technical. You have to be so precise there to get through that next section to set up for the snake and into that second sector. The high speed S's, then it really slows down about 50 miles an hour there, coming off Oak Tree to start the sprint down the back stretch, and then it finishes off with a roller coaster. What a racetrack this is, so demanding, so challenging to all of our competitors.
Once again, this track, as it's part of a what they call the motorsports resort here, they don't have all the gravel traps on the edge of the track. It's the track and then it's grass, and you get into that grass, you tend to slide long distances and the like, so it really requires precision here.
It does, and we had a little bit of rain last night, so those grass banks are a little bit slipperier than they were even yesterday, so it's going to be keeping everyone up on their toes, not making any mistakes, and certainly those track boundaries, we saw those cut down tires yesterday. Not a problem with the tires, it's just when the drivers are exceeding the track limits. They're getting over the backside of those curbs and just cutting down those inner side walls.
Yeah, that's been a big point made in all of the driver briefings as well. Well, this is a big field, some 22 cars. Let's get down to the front of it with Ryan Marine for that very special command.
And now, please welcome Michael Cryer, VP for Worldwide Sales and Engineering at CrowdStrike, to give the command to start engines.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the field comes to life. Great to have one of the representatives from CrowdStrike, the company that has become an absolutely fabulous partner of SRO America in general, and certainly part of this Pirelli GT4 America Championship. CrowdStrike, a governmental military level cybersecurity company. And great to have them as part of the program here. And the field making its way onto the lone pace lap before we go green flag. As we said, Fasnacht and Andretti on the front row. For Andretti, he's working his way back. He has now taken the lead in the points in the AM category. But the other big story with Brynjolfsson having a non-points finish yesterday, Marco Radicek only 1 point now outside of that lead. That is a close-fought championship.
It really is. Marco's having a brilliant season and going from strength to strength, so he's going to be a tough competitor for the rest of the championship trail. But for that endurance auto warranty, McLaren to start up on the front of the grid here for Jarrett Andretti, I think he's going to be thinking, I want to try and make a move down into turn one and lead overall for the first time.
And a quick question that I wanted to pose to you here is, Friday night they made a change to the McLarens in this, and they took a lot of weight off the cars. The teams didn't have a morning warm-up or anything to get a sense for it, so they kind of went into yesterday's race blind. Now they have data from that race. We expect to see the McLarens of Cooper, certainly Andretti showing great speed, but Cooper, Gaples, Clennon, everybody just a little bit quicker today?
I think so. I think it's a learning process. I mean, there wasn't a lot of rubber down yesterday with the rain we had on Friday, so the track is evolving, and certainly for those McLaren competitors, just dealing with a new set of BOP regulations. Lighter car, lower car, they'll tweaked on those setups. They should be even stronger today. So for Matt Fasnacht, he had the dominant car here yesterday, a beautiful performance, but I think those McLarens could be really strong here today.
We know that Mercedes, the thing that's so impressive about the Mercedes is how it just soaks up bumps and curbs and the like and maintains that platform and still transitions beautifully through corners, gets the power down well. It just seems this is a track that the Mercedes was almost designed for, it seems.
It does. It's such an interesting dynamic with the two AM competitors on the front row and then probably the two most experienced drivers in the field right behind with Spencer Pumpelly and Ian James.
And you just got to say it again as you look at a shot like this. How pretty is this place?
It's fantastic.
Unreal.
It's such a challenge and just a beautiful setting. Always great to be here on site. The drivers just love it.
Big thanks to Acura and Honda for their support of the series with the official safety and medical vehicles. Fortunate to have the Acura NSX pacing the field today, and the lights have gone out on that machine, which means we're anticipating a green flag. This is a 50-minute timed event.
To Pumpelly from the second row, our championship leader, the bright blue TRG LaSalle Solutions Porsche Cayman. I just think he's going to have his mind set on trying to follow our pole sitter down deep into turn one and try and push Andretti out wide into that first corner. But we've seen Jarrett, he's not intimidated much, so he's going to be going for it as well.
And Ian James had a great start yesterday, read things beautifully, but now he's on the outside of that second row, makes things a little bit more difficult sometimes. And right about here, we'll see the Acura just ease away a little bit once they get into that final corner. And once the Acura has made its move into pit lane, Fasnacht can start to just feed it a little bit of throttle. Big thing here is you cannot go until the green flag, and they don't even want you to show a headlight outside of the line. But once the green flag flies, it's racing around the track, and the field looks absolutely great, Cal.
Waiting for that green. Watch that bright blue Porsche. Can he get the jump?
Up on the flag stand as we go green, and Hugh read it. He is glued to the back end of that orange Mercedes. He's going to try and get there, but Andretti timed it beautifully. Is he going to work the outside move? He might have it done, Cal.
He does, and he gives that inside lane. Fasnacht has to give it up. Fasnacht down to the inside. There's not the grip there. Pumpelly chases him.
Now Pompelli stuck to the outside, and James going to try and get up underneath that blue Porsche in that red, white, and blue Panos. Realized wasn't quite enough room for that. Tucks back in.
Andretti leads at VIR. Fantastic start for Jarrett there. Takes that McLaren to the point.
And Michael Cooper trying to make some moves as well. Just could not find any open ground here, although it looks like Michael may have been able to slip around stably. And the rest of the field funnels through the snake now into the climbing S's.
Beautiful start there by Jarrett Andretti. He's on the racing line, so there's a bit more grip there than when you're tucked down to the inside. So he thought about it, and he gave Fasnacht enough racing rooms to the inside so there wasn't any contact. Algani in there in the crossbow. This car's been rapid here this weekend.
Had that little spin in yesterday's race, but at that point of the race was really starting to find speed. Brand new car for that team. And they haven't had a huge amount of time to test. Look at Gar Robinson.
He should have the horsepower to make this move stick down the backstretch. Definitely a championship contender now as a big compression in points as Pompelli looks to the inside into the roller coaster.
Of course, if Fasnacht starts to defend a little bit, that's going to play right into Jarrett Andretti's hands.
What an impressive performance by Jarrett Andretti. Does not have nowhere near the experience of the guys he's racing around here. Beautiful start, beautiful first lap.
Jarrett certainly is. Oh, that was
Fasnacht really reacting there. Pompelli had a big run coming out of Hogpen. You can see him there. He's trying to get back to the inside, tried to do the crossover, wasn't the room for it. Fasnacht is big on the defense right now, is allowing Jarrett Andretti to stretch the lead a little bit.
Oh, and Pompelli, Cal, those left side tires were so close to that red clay.
Gets to the inside. That was fantastic. Just beautiful driving there by Spencer.
Yeah, he danced on the edge, and he had a willing partner, didn't he, as he was able to get through.
James here in the 4th position in the Panos, faded back a little bit. We saw that yesterday, but it came on strong mid-race.
Now, can Spencer ease away from Matt Fasnacht and take a run?
Algani, he's tucked right under the rear tail of that Camaro.
That's the mix of machinery here, isn't it? The Camaro, lots of straight line speed with that horsepower in that V8.
Surprised he can see where he's going with the silhouette right in front of him. He said, when I'm racing around these big V8s, I can't even hear the engine note of my car. Looks to the inside. Gar just opens it up a little bit to give him some racing room. Good stuff.
Now, this is where Gar should be able to ease away a little bit. Cooper up behind right now on Marco Radicic. Just behind them, see if he's able to do anything with the black BMW.
BMWs have been really strong here this weekend, Greg.
Oh, look at this. Robinson from way back. Just showing the nose. It's the wrong side to really make that work. I think he was just letting Ian James know his intent is to get by him at some point.
These drivers 2nd and 3rd in points as Pompelli now closes in on our leader, Andretti.
Down through the turn called Hogpen and onto the front straight. Yeah, he has. Big time.
Big lap by Spencer here. Cleared Fasnacht and is just on the attack.
All right, here's another look at the start. And Pompelli doing exactly what he wanted to do. The problem was Andretti just covered it beautifully on the outside.
He did. He had the grip there being on the racing line. Nice job by Matt Fasnacht using a little bit of curb to create some racing room. Pompelli and James very close.
And now this sequence, and right here's what I was talking about. Watch Spencer's left side tires and that line of dirt and debris. He was right on the edge, but he found the grip he needed, didn't he?
Yeah, and as Fasnacht just opens up his hands, Spencer just takes that position away and then goes on the attack.
And he now is attacking on the race leader. And Spencer, not a surprise that last lap, Cal, fastest of the race, a 54.9.
Put together an amazing run in qualifying to grab the pole position for yesterday. Came to naught with the tire troubles, but he's back on the attack. To get 0 point score and still maintain the championship lead is remarkable, but he'd love to bounce back here today, but you're going to think he's going to be a little bit more careful with that curvature. When you drop the outside wheel and bring the car back on, that's what's doing the damage.
There's no question Spencer is a remarkable talent. He did get a couple of great toes in that lap. And we've seen him in this championship, his first ever appearance in World Challenge competition a few years ago at St. Pete. Had a great run in the first race, burned the tires off the car, and you made the comment then, you said he'll learn from that. The next day he sat in second, made a move, and checked out for the win. The guy, he reacts well.
So impressed with Jared Andretti.
Yes.
Each weekend he just gets stronger and stronger, gaining a lot of confidence.
Well, and you think of the caliber of the other teams that are running the McLarens here in this season from the off. That Andretti Autosport McLaren and Andretti have been ultimately, I think, the pace setter of the McLarens. That's remarkable.
And he seems to deal with pressure well.
Yes.
He's used to those short 10-minute sprint car races, so he gets up on the wheel early. Withstands the challenges. Is this getting pretty racy right there between Cooper and Elganian?
Yeah, Cooper got through on Elganian. As Elganian, remember, was trying to attack on Robinson, and Cooper took advantage of it.
Spencer ever closer. Spencer would love to get the lead, then control things a little bit. Oh, the tires are still really strong. He's on the attack big time.
And if you're wondering, well, if Andretti's an AM and Spencer's a pro, does he really need to get by him? You bet, because the pros are scored on the overall finishing order. And it's a big swing, first to second in those points. Spencer well aware of that.
Yeah, that 7 points really makes drivers go for it.
He got a nice run, Spencer did, out of Oak Tree that time. Fasnacht just sitting back there, still within just a couple of seconds of this lead duo.
They just made an adjustment with their starting tire pressures on the Murillo Racing Mercedes AMG car that sits in that third position. Yesterday he was so strong, then just started to fade towards the end, just trying to bring it home. His margin of victory went from like 7-second lead down to about a second at the stripe. He looks menacing. He's honing in on these leaders.
The team said that was just traffic. He had everything under control. And this is a fascinating battle to be sure, but I'll tell you that right now the battle for fourth is James, there it is, James, Robinson, Cooper, Elganian, Radicic, Stavely,
What a battle.
Lewis, and Burton, all covered by. It's time for me to throw the line in the proverbial blanket. Oh, Robinson, great run, going to the outside on James.
Ian's pretty savvy, though. He's just going to try and hold him there. Gar looks to the outside, almost opens up the door for Cooper to make a move. Gar tucks it to the inside, trying to get the power down early.
And Radicic has gone through on Elganian. And that's the problem. When you get in a pack of cars like this, we've said it many times, one of your best friends is power. And Elganian's car, very much a momentum machine. And as soon as he loses that momentum, a car with a little bit more grunt is able to sneak through. And both Cooper and Radicic have been able to do that.
So many different manufacturers represented here in this GT4 platform. Radicic dancing there through the S's. So flicking out a little bit on him.
Here's turn 10. Really tricky corner. I mean, you're literally turning in and almost going to throttle before you ever even see the apex.
Lewis there.
Oh, and a touch.
Little touch there on Stavely. This is getting intense as Radicic goes for a ride.
That's spooky with that second back straight pit wall looming.
Some big potholes there. We saw that yesterday. A couple of drivers get really wide, and it's just like a rodeo ride to finish it off as Gar Robinson gets the power. That Panos just doesn't have the straightaway speed as some of the competitors there and just starts to lose out right towards the tail end of that backstretch.
Boy, and I thought Cooper might just jump to the inside there, take advantage. But as you said, Ian James, so savvy, great track awareness. Just let that Panos ease over. Took the lane away from Cooper.
Let's not forget, Gar Robinson only sits 3 points behind Ian James in this championship chase.
Well, if they were to finish like they do, it's awfully close. Take a look here at this moment. There's the touch right there.
Watch up ahead, though. Radicic gets really wide and then hits those big bumps.
He did the right thing, just slowed the car down, didn't do anything drastic until he could gain control back. Oh, look at Spencer now.
Jared Andretti doing an amazing job just withstanding this intense pressure from Spencer Pumpelly. He realizes up through these high-speed S's, don't look behind, just focus on hitting your marks. There's nowhere for Spencer to go with it until you get to Oak Tree.
And just to give you a little bit of insight as to relative pace with Fasnacht, he now has fast lap at a 1:54.92 as he's closed it up.
Slice 400ths off of Spencer's time. Jarrett really wide there, sets up the perfect radius. Spencer thinks about the inside, but Jared Andretti still has the grip to make that move stick. Fasnacht gets a little bit closer with that fast lap. That car has just been dialed back a little bit from its opening lap pace that we saw yesterday to come on a bit stronger towards the end, I would feel. Kenny Murillo, a great racer in his day, and going to work with the feedback, looked at the lap times. They were discussed it last night.
Kenny is, one, he's just a big fan of Matt Fasnacht, and understandably so, but he's so supportive of his drivers. When Ryan interviewed him yesterday and he said, you know, you've really brought him along, and Kenny said, I don't know that we're bringing Matt along in anything. I think we're just along for the ride, as we just let his talent shine through. Now Spencer got a nice run, looks to the inside, he's there.
Oh, it's going to be tight. Jarrett just gives him enough room. Great racing between the two. Spencer putting it all on the line, but Jarrett Andretti was up to it and maintains the lead. Can Spencer do the undercut there? He thinks about it. Jarrett takes a lot of rolling speed through 3. What can Spencer do now? Great racing here.
Oh, fabulous. And great respect, too. That's so nice to see.
Spencer's going to have a problem, though, with those two dicing it like they are. It's allowing Matt Fasnacht to get ever closer. I think that's the problem. Spencer wants to make that move. He realizes it's going to be even trickier here.
You get the feeling that if Spencer could get to the front, he might be able to open things up a little bit, but boy, the way Andretti has been running.
Really pushing wide there through 10. Got to be careful. Can't go any further than that, Jared. You're going to run into a problem. He is feeling the heat right now.
And as we're watching this great charge by Matt Fasnacht, let's get down to the pit lane and the team and the Kens.
Kenny Murillo, as interested in this battle as we are, I think, and your driver's certainly very interested in seeing how this plays out as well. What do you think of the performance that he's had this weekend? He's got the overall win yesterday and now fighting up there for the overall podium once again.
Yeah, Matt works really hard to get these kind of results, and here at Murillo, we're really happy to, help him get those results that he wants. He's doing a great job. He's running with the best in the business right now. Spencer's doing a great job as well. He's doing a great job adapting with these Pirelli tires, doing the best he can, and we're really happy with what he's doing.
And talking about the company that he's keeping, these are some leading lights in racing. Andretti and Spencer Pumpelly. That's pretty cool to see, I'm sure.
Yeah, what a group, huh? And what a race. 3 different manufacturers just turning the same lap times. Matt's just biding his time. He's just going to let Spencer make the opportunity here, which I think is going to happen.
All right, we'll let you get back to watching. I know you're anxious to see how this plays out. The top 3 really tight on track right now.
I'll tell you, racing runs in that family. Kenny Murillo, senior, former national champion. And Spencer takes a look. And Kenny Murillo, Jr., we've seen him race in the touring car categories and also incredibly quick. So they get it from the driver's perspective, and that always helps, doesn't it?
It really does, and I think with Spencer Pumpelly, he is learning the respect for Jarrett Andretti quickly. Andretti has been up to every move that Spencer has put on him. Jarrett is just digging ever deeper, asking a little bit more from that McLaren. We've got 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 right now.
That is impressive. Cooper sits 6th, Stavely in the Mustang 7th, Elganian in the Crossbow 8th.
Beautiful line that Jarrett hauls through there. Just a really big wide radius between 11 and 12. He's still got the grip there to not have to over slow, and it's leaving Spencer nowhere to go. He's just really focused on a nice clean exit out of Oak Tree.
You know, taking your manufacturer comparison, we have 7 different manufacturers in the top 8, 8 different manufacturers in the top 10. So certainly the balance of these championship cars. Pretty strong in this lead trio.
Gar Robinson just laid down his personal best of the race. But he's got a long way to go to chase this podium.
He's got a little bit of a margin. 1.2 seconds back to James. And then there's nothing behind James to Cooper to Stavely to Elganian.
Big gap there for Jared Andretti. It's taking the pressure off momentarily at least. Spencer's car really puts the power down well coming out of that first turn. It really squats and goes.
It's one of the nice things, you know, things I enjoy so much about the GT4 category. GT3, I mean, wickedly quick. The performance is stunning, certainly, but they're so aero sensitive that you get into a pack like this.
Ooh, Spencer in trouble.
Bobble.
Big bobble there, picked up a huge understeer. I'm not sure he's cut a tire again. Just saw it there as he turned into the snake, just lost the front end control in the rear. Unbelievable. Second day in a row that Spencer's cut down a rear tire.
And I haven't seen him being overly abusive on any curbs.
To the Pirelli engineers this morning, there were a couple of areas they were concerned about. Turns 5 and 6 and turn 12 is where the drivers are getting up over the edge and bringing the car back on. And you're under hard acceleration too.
Oh man, and a long way to get around at this stage.
Boy, that takes the pressure off Andretti.
Yeah, Fasnacht had to check up a little bit when Spencer's issue popped up, and it's given, as you said, Andretti a little breathing room.
Well, over that last half lap, I'm not sure if it was just coincidental, but Spencer had dropped back a little bit. And then suddenly you saw that big moment. Car was obviously a little loose on him, had to straighten his hands. Initially, I thought he was just understeering wide, but he's just controlling the car that had lost the left rear.
Well, it's very likely that it was elsewhere on the track where whatever curb he caught that did the damage, and then it wasn't until he loaded it through the snake area of the track that it finally happened.
This will move Gar Robinson up into that final podium position right now. Ian James still very much in this race.
Look at Stavely on Cooper. Stavely's gone around Lewis. Cooper in that black McLaren, Stavely in that white, black, and orange striped Mustang. From G3 Racing, Ian Lacey.
Elganian still looking pesky at the back.
And you just know if he could get through, as that crossbow, as light as it is, the longer the race stays green, the faster that car gets. It's just that, as in most tracks, the best overtaking area here is always at the end of the long, fast straights where the gaming is compromised most, if you will. Here's a look at Gar. Boy, has he just come around this year, hasn't he?
They started the year 2018 with a Mercedes AMG platform. Couldn't quite get comfortable with it, just felt more at home in terms of these Camaros and everything nice and tidy in terms of the proximity to the base in Detroit, Michigan. Since that time, they just learned these cars last year, got some testing under their belts, and come out of the box very strong this year.
All right, and as Pompelli hits the pits, Ryan?
I checked in with the team to see if he had any warning, if he thought he might have run up on a curb or something like that, and apparently all he said on the radio was, "I did not touch a curb." So you guys noted it didn't look like he was being overly aggressive out there with these curbs. We know that's been a problem this weekend, and he's been driving with that in mind. Nevertheless, it's a left rear tire down for the second straight day for this TRG team when they were running in contention perhaps for a race win.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as close as this pack has been, Cal, that's going to drop him all the way to 21st. He has work to do. There's certainly race time left, more than half the race.
Andretti's got work to do as well. Fasnacht has closed in a hurry. And again, I just think for the Murillo Racing team, they may have worked with their starting tire pressure to have this car be stronger towards the end, unlike yesterday where it was bullet fast at the beginning and faded a bit towards the end of the race.
Bit of a moment there for Jeff Burton and the Rear Racing Audi R8 LMS. And that very tricky oak tree turn. Fortunately, spun to the inside. Nobody around. He was able to get going again. Didn't lose, I think, maybe a spot.
See, that McLaren really needs to use all of the road and float the speed. It seems like Mercedes can just kind of knuckle down and run a slightly tighter carve through the corners. I'm just concerned for Jared Andretti as the tire wear starts to become a factor later on, if he can just maintain the line that he's running, like through this corner, for example. That tire starts to give up right there. It's going to allow Fasnacht to just tighten things up a little bit, put the pressure on.
Which I think is interesting and really speaks to the design of the suspension geometry. I think in that McLaren, it's normally a big V8 front engine car. They don't tend to be particularly good in terms of they generally have a push, and that thing just seems to U-turn, it goes.
Andretti dropping a wheel there into the brake zone. Long way to go. Not even halfway yet in this 50-minute sprint race.
Look back here, it's Brynjolfsson sitting in the 11th spot overall, 6th in the AM category, with Mr. Collingwood right with him here. Thomas Collingwood with 169. The line
really
green,
rolling speed through there, closed the gap dramatically on Allen in front of him.
And as we're watching this good little scrap for that 6th and 7th spot in the AM category, we've been watching Andretti's great run here at the front, and one of the reasons perhaps that he and this program have really come alive, Ryan, is the gentleman you're with.
No doubt, a lot of experience for Robin Pemberton in motorsports and stepping in to oversee Andretti Autosport's expansion into SRO America, Pirelli GT4 America, and young Jared Andretti doing a tremendous job all year, but here specifically, how impressed are you with his performance this weekend?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I mean, you know, as a team, we're growing, we're learning these cars. It's the first time for a lot of us at, you know, this type of program. But Jarrett just gets better and better every week in and week out. Feedback's great, you know, and we just try to keep putting the car where he needs it. And, you know, it's been a good experience so far.
Looking ahead to the second half of this race, tire wear is one of the things that our guys are talking about. How do you think the McLaren will do relative to the Mercedes that's chasing you?
I think we're pretty good, but, you know, we haven't been out front a lot this year or at all. And, you know, as you know, the cars react different. So we'll just have to, you know, see what happens, see what comes of it. But irregardless, we've had, you know, we're having one of our better days here. Last race was pretty good, too.
I know it's still early, but what would an overall win mean for this program and for Jarrett?
It would mean a lot to everybody. You know, it's been a lot of work for everybody, but anybody in this series or any other series to get a first win or any win is saying a lot for a team and an effort for everybody.
Thank you for the time.
You're welcome.
I'll tell you, that McLaren's got some legs down that straight, too. I mean, that Mercedes was glued to him coming out of Oak Tree.
Yeah, they're pretty evenly matched.
Yeah. You know, one thing you know that Jared doesn't intimidate easily because the racing experience he has is sprint cars and the like. That's not for the faint of heart.
As he said, when I ran the street circuits around the walls, he said, I do that every night I'm racing.
Yeah.
Sprint cars, and that doesn't intimidate me. And he wasn't intimidated with guys like Spencer Pumpelly pushing him right to the limit. He'll be gaining confidence. The key is going to be the balance of that car. He's done a beautiful job.
There.
He doesn't seem to be overdriving it, but that McLaren just seems to be able to needs more of the road to make the lap time compared to the Mercedes.
There's Robinson, there's James in the red, white, and blue panels. And then Cooper, Stabley, Lewis, and Elganian. Tight packed little group here in their battle for the 5th overall position.
Literally, the top 7 are running lap times within a 1/10 of one another.
That just speaks highly, doesn't it? Of just how close this is. Oh, just had to defend. This is so tough for Elganian to make the move where when he needs it.
Fastest man on the racetrack on the last lap, so he's got pace there, but again, a little frustrated to see that pack disappear from you, and it looks like Spencer's called it a day.
Oh boy, this has just got to be huge frustration. You can see over to the wall and gloves off, but just the body language says it all.
Yeah, talking to the engineer, Dave Fullerton there. What do we do? He's probably saying, I did not abuse the curbs, and we still cut a tire down. So Carl Robinson coming there on the front straightaway. Ian James. We now get to the halfway point in the race. What did the Panos team do to that race car to give it strength in the second half?
Well, James generally says the normal MO is the car's better late.
Oh, big move by Lewis down to the inside on Stavely. Stavely gives him some room. Opens up the door. Alganian takes it.
Can he hold it, though? It's the horsepower of that Mustang back to the inside, but Alganian can flow some serious speed and gets in there and then takes a look at Lewis, figured, well, if I can double up the opportunity here, let's go for it. And now they get into the twisty stuff. It's going to be very difficult. And meanwhile, so let's get back down to pit lane. Ryan Marine with, I'm sure, a very frustrated Spencer Pumpelly.
Yes, I think that's right. Unfortunately, a weekend that started with a great deal of promise, Spencer, has come to a premature end. What ultimately led to the decision to step out of the car?
When we lost that last tire, it took out one of the ABS, or the wheel speed sensors, which means you don't have ABS, which in these cars, you know, if you know you're not going to have ABS, you can do a little bit to tune the brake system. But right now, we just don't have a car to fight with. So even if we did get a yellow, we wouldn't be able to get the lap back. The points only paid a top 10. We're sitting 20th right now. So with a car that's on 100%, smelled some electrical burning in it too. I just figured, let's just cut our losses. This is unfortunate. This really hurts. We had a good car. We've been on, you know, pretty good roll momentum-wise. Yesterday we didn't know really why the tire failed. They told us today, stay off the curbs. We did that. It was really easy. Bring him up to temp, stayed off the curbs completely for the first couple laps, avoided the ones they told us were problems, and still have the same results. So I don't know, I'm scratching my head right now, but we tried everything last night to come up with a plausible scenario and just can't answer it.
Sorry to see you out so soon, and we'll see you at the next one.
Yeah, thank you.
And obviously, Cal, we didn't see him on every curb, every lap, but we certainly saw him use a curb or two on occasion, but I never saw him behind a curb or abusing them.
To get any sort of lap time, you're going to run the curbs at certain parts of this racetrack. I think the concern and the belief was if you ran wide in 5 and 6 and 12, if you brought the car back on over the back edge of that curb, that was what was doing the damage. So very professional remarks from Spencer there. I'm sure he's very, very frustrated deep inside, but they're just scratching their heads as Fasnacht continues to pile the pressure on the leader.
Yeah, he's a good man and a class guy. And as you're talking about Fasnacht's pressure, watching him last time into the end of the back straight, into the roller coaster, that car really was dancing on the brakes, and you see little puffs of dirt being thrown up here and there. And he's certainly upping the ante in terms of aggression, I think, at this stage.
He is, and the car looks good. Looks a little bit stronger than Andretti's McLaren. You see Andretti there and Fasnacht. You get so distracted. Andretti got a little bit wide, and suddenly if you're that close behind him like Matt was, it's very easy to lose your line, and the margins are so small there at that high speed.
And this is where Fasnacht wanted to be a little closer because Andretti, that McLaren, does have some pretty good straight line speed. There's no question it's very slippery, Cal.
It is. There's not much to choose between these two cars when you look at them. They look so different, but they're achieving their lap times in really the same places. Not like there's a big stretcher anywhere around this racetrack. There's not like that concertina effect we sometimes see. They seem pretty evenly matched. I still believe the last 10 to 15 minutes of this race could determine the winner in terms of that tire degradation.
Robinson, a little bit of a comfort zone, sitting in the third spot over James. James now feeling the pressure from Cooper. Lewis, Alganian again getting around Stavely.
Big race for Jared Andretti. He's got a lot of family here this weekend making the drive up to watch him compete. A lot of supporters from Window World, Endurance Auto Warranty. Got some major partners on board this season.
There's something dragging on the right rear corner.
Yes, there is.
Now, this is a different car than the one that he had the contact with.
He's running in Sprint X, of course, with two different chassis. He's getting wide. He may have lost a bit of downforce. So that diffuser is coming down. That'll affect the handling of that car. And that could be big news for Jared Andretti if the main chaser is struggling for grip now.
Yeah. Fasnacht will certainly try and figure out a workaround, or I suppose it'd be called a drive around. But if you're just suddenly losing downforce, not a lot you can do about that. They've got 4 seconds back to Robinson, but there's a lot of time left in this race.
He's regrouped. Hasn't hurt him too badly. Battle here. Cooper, Lewis, Alganian, Stavely in their shadows. James, a relatively lonely race, sitting there in the 4th position, but a big points day potentially. It's going to be awfully tight between James and Robinson in the championship chase if they finish as they are right now.
Cooper, the black McLaren from Black Dog Speed Shop. Shane Lewis, that blue, orange, and white Chevrolet Camaro from Robinson Racing, the 74 Ranch Resort entry. And then Alganian in that all-black Marco Polo crossbow.
Talking to Ray Sorensen, who leads that Black Dog Speed Shop effort, said we still really haven't got our arms wrapped around this McLaren chassis. It may take us until the middle of the summer to get that point where we have a gap in the schedule. He's talking about after Sonoma getting through these next races. Big move by Lewis down to the inside. Cooper sees it, just rolls speed to clear him.
Oh, look at Alganian. Thought he might be able to get down to the inside.
Alganian. He's always got a big smile on his face. He's got a Cheshire Cat grin right now. Looks to the inside. That's not going to work. Where to go with it? He's got speed, but can't really use it.
And that little, he did get Lewis a little off his line, which was just a gift to Cooper. Suddenly he's got breathing room.
Fasnacht settled back in, so maybe he's had to make some driving adjustments to a potential loss of downforce there at the back. An intense race this is. Settling down a little bit. Final sprint to the finish.
This is as close as Stavely's been in a little bit. See if he's building.
Position the race car did not really give him an easy path.
Well, and he's through. That was it. I would have thought if you want to defend there, Cal, you'd actually move to the right of the track, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. Try and give you the opportunity to dive back down to the inside as you finish off your braking for the roller coaster. So he's having a great battle, drops a little wheel there. Gotta be careful. He did that yesterday, remember, and went for that spin. Brand new chassis for Alganian. 3rd chassis, really, that he's utilized this year. Team did a brief shakedown with it at Willow Springs 10 days ago, I believe it was, and first time that Nikolai drove it was here in practice on Friday. Said it feels really good. He loves the racetrack. First time here as well.
It's just that that's basically, it's a little inline 4 2-liter Audi turbo engine. So the car runs very, very light because it doesn't have that big horsepower in it.
Fasnacht still looking menacing, looking for a sweep of the weekend. I think this is the point in the race. This last 15 minutes or so will be key for Jared Andretti. The balance of the cars looked good. He just kept it really clean, neat and tidy, not overdriving the car there, but Fasnacht is as close as he's ever been.
See if he can stay close enough to get some sort of a tow, but that McLaren just, it's almost like it closes the air up behind it. Very nice.
Just see, I'm not sure if Fasnacht's up to. I saw him coming up through the S's run on a very different line. Not sure if he's got any, shouldn't have any overheating issues today, but it's relatively cool in terms of the summer conditions we're going to get into, but just seems to be looking for clean air.
Coming up on 15 minutes remaining through Hogpen and on the pit straight once again. Let's see. Andretti definitely thinking defense, isn't he? Stays to the right.
He is going to be focused. He's used to. Oh, he's problems.
He
Andretti slow.
Tire.
He's cut a tire. Fasnacht is through. Jared did the right thing, moved to the right-hand side of the road, could feel it.
That's a left front.
What disappointment. He had run the perfect race. Robinson moves up to second, James to third, Cooper now up to fourth. He just pulls off. He had not put a foot wrong all day.
He had been brilliant. This is a class move. I mean, he could have tried to limp it around. It would have been an entire lap. And instead just turns and finds a safe area. Doesn't affect the race. These, there's something about these curbs around here that
Didn't see him abusing them that badly. Didn't really go for any rough rides. Just floating that car perfectly around this tricky racetrack.
So that's going to promote Robinson up into second.
Big points weekend for Gar. Finished on the podium here yesterday.
Yep. James moving to third.
Potentially they're going to be tied at the top of the table tonight if they stay as they are. It's a 3-point swing between second and third. You get paid today, and he came in here 3 points behind Ian James.
Here's Fasnacht.
He's going to be a player if he sweeps.
Yeah. The thing is that he's not really running wasn't slated to run the entire championship in this sprint division. But if you sweep the weekend like this, sometimes that can be a nice little incentive to
watch Ian James. This is the point in the race where he typically comes on strong. He'll know the point scenario. He'll know that Spencer's out. Know that Guy Robinson is a real player in the championship. He'd love to get back by him. So savvy, so much experience. Just allows the leaders to take off a little bit in the early going. Just really paces that car perfectly to keep the tires underneath.
They've gapped Cooper just a little bit. Cooper running fourth in the Black Dog Speed Shop McLaren, and then behind Cooper, Lewis, Stavely, and Elganian continue their exceptional battle.
Stavely's having a great run, looks to the inside, tough to make it stick there without contact.
You almost wonder there if that line by Stavely in there was less of an attack on Lewis as a defense on Elganian. Comes through 10 and carries so much speed.
It's a high-risk pass into turn 11 to try and tuck down to the inside. There's nowhere to go with it, and if you force someone wide there, they're going to be in the tires. You just can't collect the car back.
Radisic, just keeping you updated here, sits third in the AM category, comes in second in the points. Only one behind Andretti, and Brynjolfsson owing a problem here for the number 80. That is Dmitry Novikov.
Is he going to stop?
Reardon Racing entry.
The smoke out of the tail. In a safe zone there.
I think he might be okay there.
Last thing Fasnacht wants is a reset. He's got nearly a 4-second lead over Robinson and James right now.
Another tough day, too, for Alan Brynjolfsson, who came in here third in the AM points, and he is 14th right now, down a lap. Not exactly sure what unfolded there. He's running some fairly quick times. Meanwhile, let's get down to pit lane, get an update on a couple of our key players.
I got an update on several of the things you were just talking about, actually, guys. Regarding Alan Brynjolfsson, about 15 minutes ago, they actually came into pit lane. They were afraid they were having a tire issue. They had one yesterday. Alan reported similar issues. They were seeing similar things on telemetry, but when they made the tire change, the tire came off. Nothing was wrong. They figured better safe than sorry, but sent him out, and he obviously lost a lot of time, and that is a big hit. regarding Jared Andretti, I talked to Robin Pemberton. He said there was really no warning. He suspected it was something similar that what these other teams have been dealing with, but he wasn't sure at this point. But obviously a great deal of disappointment there. And finally, we've been talking about Matt Fasnacht and the diffuser damage to his car. I checked in with that team, and they said it really shouldn't affect the handling of the car too much. Matt wasn't too concerned about it, and no matter what, they're not bringing him in. They're keeping him out there till the end, guys.
Well, that makes sense. He has figured out a way to keep that pace alive if there is any kind of an impact from that diffuser. The irony here, too, is that, watching, as I said, in the last few laps before Andretti had his issue, it was Fasnacht who seemed to be more up on the curves, throwing little clouds of dirt and debris up in the air, and Andretti was just so precise.
I'll tell you what, though, Gar Robertson is closing in on that Mercedes at a rapid rate. Nearly took a second out of that 4-second lead. Is now right at 3.04. Fasnacht cannot relax, just like yesterday. Could not afford to see the car slow down to the same extent. He does not have the margins that he had at this stage yesterday when it got very tight at the wire, down to a 1-second margin of victory.
Cooper running just a little bit faster than Ian James the last couple of laps and has trimmed that margin down to about a second. 1.5 at this stage.
This could get a bit tasty at the end, Greg.
Yeah. Sort of.
Gar Robertson is on the move. Car has looked really strong. It was strong in the late going yesterday. Can he pick up his first win?
Saw a yellow flag waving there at one of the turn stations. Car off to
the left there on the exit of turn 10, possibly.
A lap ago, we saw Mark Clennon in the KPR Premier Copier McLaren running slow. Oh, it's Frank Gannett, teammate to
Safety
Stavely.
car. Wow, we're going to get a reset here.
Oh, boy. Frank trying to get things going. Yeah.
Tough to see with the cars cresting the hill there to get a clean way back on the track. Got to be so careful.
Frank's got some sort of damage on the other side of the car.
He needs help from the corner workers there if they're in a place to give him that information. The field gets down to safety car speed.
Well, you had to mention safety car.
It should be a quick, I mean, they just got
to
get Frank back out there quickly. We should be released once again with probably 5 minutes left on the board, I would think.
Yeah, there's Andretti's car. He's in a very safe spot, so trying to see, did Clennon make it around? Yeah, he's still showing us out there, so for Gannett, there must be something broken on the other side of the car, and I wonder if it was this and Novikov, if he didn't particularly find a safe area here in the Reardon car, and they just decided too much risk.
Well, I think that area of the track is to the inside is relatively low speed, but when you have a car sitting off to the left-hand side in those high-speed S's where Gannett is, that is a major dangerous zone in terms of if anyone else follows him off track, so you got to get that cleared immediately.
On the touring car qualifying or race 1 yesterday, that's where Nimkov ended up right in that spot, so suddenly things getting a little bit more nervous in the Murillo pit.
Kenny Murillo there, screen left, just discussing things.
It's a matter of how quick we can get these two cars towed. And assuming Gannett's car can move, you would think they could just hook, they call a flat tow, not a tilt bed, but just a tow, just like that, and get these two cars pulled and just tuck them in a safe spot.
Like Gannett had the ability to move the car. I think he was just made the right choice in not suddenly turning across the racetrack at such an area where the cars are at high speed. Should be stalled at that point and is now not able to move the Mustang over in turn 10.
Getting reports from the corner station that apparently there's an issue with getting the car to remain running. Yeah, I don't, with all that equipment out there, Cal, I don't know that we can get that cleared in 4.5 minutes.
It's a shame. Yeah, we're just going to be able to drive it to a safe spot. Shaping up to be such a classic battle at the end with Robinson and James closing in on Matt Fasnacht, our leader.
Yeah, you see as they're trying to move Jarrett's car. It's Carl Thompson, who's his co-driver in the Sprint X races, that's working with him there.
Okay, they got it hooked up. There's a chance.
Frank's out. You just got to do a quick tuck and let this get back to it. So Fasnacht leads overall and the AM category. Robinson, the 74 of Gar Robinson. The Camaro sits second. The 50 Avisano of James is third. Cooper and the Black Dog McLaren is fourth. Fifth is Shane Lewis, teammate to Gar Robinson in the Robinson Racing Camaros. The number 72, Stavely runs sixth overall, and the number 12, G3 Ian Lacey Racing Mustang, that's second in the AM category. Elganian runs seventh overall in the Marco Polo Crossbow, KTM Crossbow. Eighth, the number 22, BMW of Marco Radicic, third in the AM category, the PrecisionDrivingTech.com entry. Ninth is fourth in AM. That's Sean Quinlan having a good run. And the number 19, Steve Cameron Racing, Cameron Race Products, BMW. And rounding out the top 10 is the car that sits fifth in the AM category, the 91 Reardon Racing Audi of Jeff Burton.
Looking at the clock, I think they could maybe just get back to beat the clock and maybe go green. The key is going to be after they've got that Mustang hooked up and able to pull it out of the way. Wheels in the air. It is literally a race against the clock to get all those safety vehicles out of the way, get that car tucked into a safe haven. But at the same time, the pace car has to be delivering a speed that's going to get that field back before we run out of time on the clock. You only need a second to go green again.
Well, if they can get him into a safe haven in a hurry, and if the other two EVs get moving here in a hurry.
Now they just need the safety car to pick up the pace a little bit.
Yep.
For Matt Fasnacht, he's probably not thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm curious if you're leading this race. Okay, the safety car takes off. I know you're supposed to stay within a few car lengths of it, but be slowed down a little bit to make sure that he doesn't beat the clock, going to zero before they get to the stripe. Could be the slowest restart in history.
Exactly.
Trying to get these vehicles over to the support pit lane, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, the yellow EV is still over where Gannett's car went off. As you said, all they have to do is duck into this pit lane here, and that's
a chance.
Good safe haven.
Yeah.
We could do it.
Minute on the board to get these cars back to the start line. Cooper's getting ready. You all have to get ready just in case.
Yeah, be ready. You're right. Although, are we seeing a message here from Fasnacht? He's not doing anything. Is his plan just to do exactly what you said?
It's going to be close. I'm not sure they can make it. Not sure they can make it. And remember, that start line is a long way down that front stretch. You see it there in the backdrop of our picture.
You see the crew, the crew's at the wall. They're pretty confident there's not going to be a restart.
It's game over.
I do too. Well, pretty good day. Pretty good weekend for Matt Fasnacht, Murillo Racing. Across every division, but certainly here in their first appearance in the Sprint series for the Pirelli GT4 America Championship and come in, and looks like they're gonna sweep the weekend.
Fantastic result for that team. Major disappointment for Jared Andretti, who drove a beautiful race.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
He'll come back strong.
So then the sort of begs the question, doesn't it? Will we see Fasnacht as he comes through? Second straight win overall for an AM driver. It happens to be the same one, Matt Fasnacht, Murillo Racing. What a weekend.
Big points day for Gar Robinson. Should be tied for the lead, I believe, with Ian James at the end of the day. Cooper there continuing to build points. Putting a strong season together. They'll come back strong with that Black Dog speed shop McLaren. Radisik had another nice day. Favored a little bit there, but was right in the thick of the battle, but still finishes third in the AM class.
Yeah, with Andretti's issues and Brynjolfsson's issues.
Should jump to the top.
He should be your point leader. And again, a good run for Sean Quinlan. 4th in the AM class, and Burton 5th in the AM class. Nicely done. And then, of course, the frustrations for Andretti and Pumpelly. I think Fasnacht's driving faster now than he was on the previous lap. Now that he's won it, he wants to get back and celebrate with the crew.
After I heard the radio communication between the driver and crew over those last 2 or 3 minutes. Where are we? Where's the clock?
So mid-May, next round of the Sprint Championship will be in Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Think we're going to see an orange McLaren entered in that now?
You never know. He's certainly enjoying life right now.
He's going to be in the mix, points-wise. I mean, after he'll have 50 points. Andretti's not going to gain any. That's 51. Brynjolfsson 45. So Marco Radisik he'll have something on the order of 65 points. So I mean, he'll only be 15 points out of the lead of the championship, Cal. I think we may see him. Good look there at Ian James.
Another solid run.
Yeah.
Admitted at the start of the weekend they may struggle a bit here by not having the top speed toward the end of the long stretches here at VIR, but just did a really solid job in bringing home 2 big points days.
And you did some tabulating. It should be a tie, right, between Robinson and James now?
I think so. There's a 3-point margin coming in, and there's a 3-point swing between 2nd and 3rd.
Cooper's going to get some useful points, as will Lewis. So Pumpelly will go from probably 1st to 5th or 6th in the points. All right, here we go into pit lane for Matt Fasnacht. 2nd straight day he, as an AM driver, has won the overall sprint race. And, you know, it's that coulda, woulda, shoulda, isn't it? I mean, who knows how this would have played out had Pumpelly not had his issues. He was certainly plenty fast, and his racecraft, you don't know exactly what he was thinking and waiting for the end, but nonetheless, it is Matt Fasnacht making his way into the victory circle area, and it's I hope Ryan asks him point blank, we going to see you now for the rest of the year? He's proven he belongs.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Robinson behind him, boy, has he just been impressive this year.
Oh, you got back. Yeah.
Well, he likes the way that this number 53 Murillo Mercedes is set up for sure. And Ryan, 2nd straight day you're visiting with Matt Fasnacht.
Yeah, Matt, we talked in the paddock yesterday, and like Babe Ruth calling your shot, you said, I'm going to talk to you in victory lane tomorrow, and here we are. You did it.
It was super hopeful, but the car was really good. I mean, I got to thank Pirelli and Murillo and Mercedes-AMG, and actually I got to stop and thank my wife, Laura, Annabelle, Christian Aiden for letting me come out here, and Pirelli and everybody else. Thanks.
The question everyone once answered, I know you weren't planning on the full season of the single driver sprint format. Are we going to see you at CTMP and for the rest of the year?
I'm not sure about that yet. I'm just taking in the moment. Thanks for asking.
Of course, we'd love to see you, that's for sure. What does this mean, winning overall in this category against some really good pro drivers?
First of all, hats off to Pirelli and Andretti. I mean, that was a fun race. They were great cars. They had tires go down. I hate to see it go like that. And winning under yellow, I could have liked it either way, but I'll take it. But yeah, this boosts my confidence a lot that I can run with these super high-end pros and other cars. So yeah, it's a big day for me.
Congratulations, well done.
Thanks a lot, appreciate it. Woo, yeah, yeah, come on, yeah.
I don't think he's happy enough. That's
That
fabulous.
really boosts his confidence.
Yeah,
and
for
it's a
sure.
realization, you know, if I hit my marks and do my job and the team gives me a strong car, I can compete with these other fellas. So tough day for some, great day for others.
Absolutely. And again, the podium, Fasnacht, Robinson, and the Camaro would be the top pro. And James right there in third, Cooper in fourth, Lewis in fifth. And second place in AM is Stavely. Second place in the race overall is Mr. Robinson.
Yes, Scar Robinson, second overall, but first in class, and to a certain degree, that's what counts. You told me earlier in the weekend you liked this car, you liked this track. It seemed like a good combination, and you raced your way to the front a couple of times this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we were with Chevy at VIR, we were 1-2. So I think we've had 3 podiums this weekend, so that was pretty good. But I love this track, and I gotta throw a hat to Jared and Fasnacht. I mean, I had a great front row seat to some of the great battling that they were doing, and I was hoping they were going to slow each other down, but they were wicked fast. But no, we had a great time this weekend, and I love this track. And it's the guys have been doing a great job at the shop, and get a quick turnaround from Long Beach. That was a brutal one for us, but I think this is good redemption from Long Beach, and I couldn't be happier this weekend.
A good weekend for points as well. Gar Robinson, a happy guy here. First in class, second overall.
Yeah, he did have a rough go at Long Beach with the incident, had to go to a backup car. They've rebounded here, certainly, and he was running some awfully good laps at the end, as you pointed out, and was maybe taking a little bit out of Fasnacht.
Yeah, I think if we'd gone green, he could have been celebrating even further with an overall win, but he just goes from strength to strength, like so many other. And the season is shaping up so nicely. When you look at Andretti's performance today, look at Gar Robinson. They're just really, really quick young kids.
Here are you, take a look at the results here. If they're highlighted in red, they're AMs. If they're in the white, they are the pros. Right at the end of that interview, you saw that other person walk into the frame. That was his dad, George, and you saw Jack Baldwin walk in, and those two guys have had battles in Trans Am over the years. You can see the grins on their faces, certainly enjoying the moment. Here's the rest of the lineup. Big story there. I mean, obviously for Andretti and Brynjolfsson in the AM category, but Pirelli, those 3 drivers, huge hit in points here on this day. Pirelli the weekend after having a similar problem in the 4th round of the championship yesterday. That's critical.
Yeah, so much pace, but no reward. So they just got to regroup. It's been a tough weekend, but they're a really strong team, so much experience. They'll have been through things like this before. And we go from this track to another old school, just super high demanding racetrack north of the border, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So the intensity is equal there. Everyone has to be up on the wheel.
That is a speed bowl. It's the best way to put it. And these cars should be absolutely spectacular there. We certainly hope you'll join us for our coverage of GT4, Pirelli GT4 America Championship competition in the sprint category at the next round of the championship at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It has been a beautiful weekend here after some rain on Friday and a little bit of rain last night, but Saturday and now today, absolutely beautiful, and at one of the most stunning locations for a racetrack that you could imagine here at Virginia International Raceway. Again, the weekend presented by Henry Repeating Arms, and fabulous racing to be sure. Some big swings and points, some big gains for others, and for some, questions dangling as to whether or not after a big weekend we might have a few more of these people coming full time for the rest of the season in the sprint category. And you think about the tracks that they're going to be driving on for the rest of the year, certainly some great attraction. All right, and the podiums are unfolding here, and again, this is the AM podium. Third in AM, Marco Radicic, and I think he might end up now as the point leader. Drew Stavely, second. Had a great drive in that G3 racing, Ian Lacey Racing Mustang, didn't he?
He did.
Always does.
He had great pace and getting to grips with a new platform from them from the Janetta in 2018.
And then your overall winner as well as the AM winner, Matt Fasnacht from Murillo Racing. And Fuji, good supporter of that program. Well done. Good day for Marco Radicic, too, in that
shake up some champagne.
Precision Driving Tech.com entry. There's the champagne, the bubbly flies.
Finishing in third in GT4 Sprint AM, Marco Radicic.
It's always nice. You can see Marco, though. He's keeping the champagne a little bit off him because he's got another race yet to drive, as he'll be in Sprint X. So will Fasnacht.
We'll move on now to our
busy morning for Marco.
That's right, touring car before.
I'm not sure if you're allowed to drink if you've got another race to do, are you?
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Don't celebrate too much.
All right, now for the pro podium, Michael Cooper. He continues to really, as he put it in a blog he writes, punch above their performance weight here. Great ride for him up into third in the Black Dog McLaren. Ian James, just classic Ian James performance, getting exactly what he can out of the car. And then for the winner in the pro category, second overall, for Robinson Racing, 74 Ranch Resort, Gar Robinson.
He is pumped up.
He is. Talked to him when he really had a fabulous run at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park last year, where he really started to show some form. And I looked at him and I said, "Look like you're having fun out there." And he looked at me and goes, "Hey," he said, "if nothing else, I'm going to bring the fun to World Challenge." And he is certainly a chip off the old block. He and his dad, both great characters and both great drivers.
Going to be a fun season, mate.
Boy,
this
isn't
is
it?
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great stuff. All right. And let's see. I think all three of these guys are, well, I suppose Ian James, the argument is I have to sort of team manage here. Boy, Gar didn't even have the bottle in his hand when he got drenched.
The only thing he's been slow at all day.
Exactly. Exactly.
A couple of specialty awards to hand out before
well done indeed. He's a character. Well, here we go. Let's take a look at the start. And again, it looked like Pumpelly was going to do what he wanted to do, and Andretti just went right around the outside of that front row. Beautiful start.
It really was. He had the rip by being on the racing line and took that McLaren immediately to the front.
And was able to build a little bit of a margin, and then Pumpelly working this outside line, and again, right on the edge of where the grip was, but it allowed him right there to just stick the car up the inside.
Hard but clean racing, and then he went on the attack. He immediately closed in on the Andretti machine.
And then this happened for the second straight day. Left rear corner somehow getting cut. And you can see the bafflement by them here. And then a similar problem for Andretti. You can see it. This time it was a left front, and that allowed Fasnacht to just sweep around the outside and pick up the lead.
It's like things were going to really intensify for the fight for the win, but then unfortunately we had this problem up in the high-speed S's, and we finished the race under caution.
Absolutely. It was a great charge that looked like it might be happening for Gar Robinson, but in the end, it was a second straight win overall and in AM for Matt Fasnacht and Murillo Racing.